Hello, Musical Union singers, and welcome to the first of our topics classes. This one on how to warm up your own voice. I imagine for you, as for me, most every choral rehearsal I've ever sung has begun with a vocal warm-up, and I know that a good one leaves me feeling energized, focused, relaxed, and ready to sing a rehearsal. But how can we do that for ourselves at home? What if we want to practice the music we're singing? How can we get ourselves ready to sing? That's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to go through two vocal warm-ups. A nice, long, extended vocal warm-up that I like to do when I have plenty of time on my hands, and a shorter warm-up. This is a warm-up that I do if I need to be ready to sing in about 5 minutes. But first, why do we warm up? I'm sure that 10 different voice teachers would give 10 variants of answers for this. From my perspective, when we're warming up our voice, there are 3 things we're doing. Number 1, we're warming up the mind-body connection that we need to be able to bring to mind healthy singing habits and communicate them efficiently to our body. Second, there's the physiological part. We're literally warming up the small muscles in our larynx that are responsible for singing. Now, the reality is, this is probably the least important part of a vocal warm-up. If we've been speaking a fair amount in the day, those muscles already have a good amount of blood flowing to them. For me, the third reason for warming up is the emotional reason. A warm-up gives me the space to center myself emotionally, to check in and say, what do I feel when I take a deep breath in and really let it go? How does my voice feel today? What thoughts are running around in my head that might be distracting me from singing? And can I let those go with my breathing so that I can really be fully present in the music I'm making? And for me, a good warm-up that encompasses these 3 elements, the mind-body connection, the physiology, and the emotion, leaves me in a really healthy place, physically, mentally, and emotionally, to dive into making some great music. With those 3 goals in mind, let's embark on a nice extended warm-up journey. For me, a good warm-up always has 4 components. These are really related to establishing that mind-body connection and mentally calling to mind all of the things we need to do physically to prepare ourselves for healthy singing. Those 4 courses are posture, reminding ourselves of how we can hold our body in a healthy way that makes breathing easy and singing free. Breath. This is about reminding ourselves of the muscles involved in breathing and beginning to connect that to the voice itself. Laryngeal freedom. You'll hear me use the term larynx a lot. This refers to the voice itself, the vocal folds as well as the cartilage that protects the folds and the muscles that control the folds. The vocal folds themselves are actually muscles as well. And then finally, resonance. This refers to everything above the voice and how it works together to shape the vowels and to allow our sound to blossom out and into the space of the room. Let's begin with posture. As we remind our body what it is to be in a healthy posture, we'll come back over and over to the terms noble and axial, dynamic and free. We want our posture to be noble and axial, that is to say, to be tall and open, and also to be axial, to be balanced along our spinal cord from the top of the head all the way down to the soles of our feet. and we want it to be dynamic and free. We don't want to lock anything in place, but rather we want to have everything so balanced that our muscles can be relaxed and constantly, dynamically checking in as we shift ever so slightly forwards, ever so slightly backwards, or side to side within that noble and axial balance. So let's begin some exercises designed to help us find that. First, we're going to do a series of leaning over and rolling back up. And this is really about helping us be aware of where our hips are and how our spine articulates. In life, many people move through the world with their hips in an unhealthy position that causes either an unfortunate curve of the lower back like this, or that results in a forward slouching of the body. Neither of these is healthy for the alignment of our spine. And so we're going to become aware through this rolling up of how our hips and lower spine can articulate as we roll our hips front and back. Let me see if I can show you better. There we are. And also how our upper spine can articulate as we curve it front and back as well. So first, start standing comfortably with your feet about hip width apart, knees slightly bent. And now first, drop your head forward and towards your chest. And then roll down from the top of your spine, bending your knees as you go, letting your arms hang and letting your neck hang, until we just hang over, letting the back of the neck be long and free, so that we're looking down and towards our knees, not up and towards the floor. Really release the back of that neck. Now, just to relax all these muscles, gently extend one knee and then the other, left and right, to slowly release any tension you might have held in your lower back through the day. Left, right, back and forth. Maybe then you can bend a little bit lower and again go left, right, back and forth. Now, very slowly roll up from the bottom of your spine, stacking one vertebra on the next as you come up. Let your head hang loose the whole time, so that only after your shoulders begin to roll back does your neck begin to roll up. In doing that, we start to become aware of the articulation of each of the bones in our spinal cord. Let's do that process again. Let's start to connect it to our breathing as well. Take a nice breath in. And as you exhale, release your neck. Roll forward, bend the knees, hang, droop, be loose and free. Shift your lower back around, left, right, left, right. Breathe freely. And then as you inhale, roll up from the base of the spine, trying to let the spine stay relaxed through the process until the shoulders start to round back and hang, and the head comes to center. Now just bring your hips ever so slightly forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards. Finally forwards and relax them. Shift your weight forwards onto the balls of your feet and back now towards your heels. To the balls of your feet and center. Try and keep the muscles that controlled that rolling as relaxed as possible. Let your being centered and balanced keep you from falling, rather than rigidly locking down those muscles. Now, take a hair or two from the top of your head and just draw yourself up an inch or so. And now release and let your shoulders hang, let your arms hang as though marionettes. Notice if your hips may have tightened in that process, and if so, just relax them. Relax your belly. Do you tend to hold it in through the day? Now's the time to let it go. Let it be loose and free. And now, place a hand on your sternum and gently lift your ribcage up and into that hand. Check in again with your hips. Did they tighten? Let them be relaxed and free. Check in with the back of your neck. Did you start looking up into space? Did you start scrunching your neck down towards your chest? Let it be balanced on the top of your spine. And now take a nice full breath in and out. In and out. Release your hand, but keep your rib cage nobly lifted. In and out. Notice if you've locked your legs, relax them. Find your dynamic, free balance. Breathe in and breathe out. So now we found a good, healthy posture. But let's check in with a few more spinal cord relaxation exercises. Because especially in our world today, where so many of us are looking at screens, our neck tends to get a bit locked with our eyes focused on exactly one place. Let's remind our head of all the ways it can move through space. Let's start by relaxing our head back, looking up to the ceiling, and letting it hang. Notice how your body adjusted to rebalance here, and find again that dynamic free balance between heels and toes. Knees slightly relaxed, hips ever so slightly tucked, shoulders released. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, let your neck hang back. On your next inhalation, slowly bring the neck back to center. And as you exhale, let one shoulder go over towards one ear. Keep both shoulders relaxed. Think of the neck coming up and out of the spine and over to the side. Breathe in and out. Breathe in, bring the neck back to center. Breathe out, send the other ear to the other side. Breathe normally, relax the shoulders. Think of the neck coming up and again over, not down and over, but up and over to the side. Breathe in and out. Relax that neck. Breathe in and out. Breathe in, bring the neck back to center. Now imagine you have a pencil on the top of your head pointing straight at the ceiling. Shoo! You're going to draw with your head a little circle on the ceiling with that pencil. Round and round. Getting ever so slightly larger yet. Notice any neck cracks and move slowly through them. Now draw a large circle in the other direction. By the way, how are your hips doing? Have they tightened? Relax them. How about your knees? Find that noble proudness even as you roll your neck, that axial freedom. Good. Smaller circles until your head comes to a stop. Now shake out your fingers, shake out your shoulders, shake out your hips, front, back, side, 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 and shake out your knees. Excellent. Breathing. Place one hand on your belly, place one hand on your sternum. Find that wonderful, noble axial posture. The dynamic freedom, never locked muscles, constant motion of slight forward, slight back, slight left, slight right. And now take a nice full breath in. And notice how you feel the expansion here and out. Breathe in and out. As we breathe in and out on your own speed. As we breathe, we want to feel that slight lift of the rib cage into the sternum and feel the belly expanding into the hands as we breathe in. As we exhale, that slight lift of the sternum remains. Breathe out. We breathe in again. Feel just that ever slight expansion here on the edges. Breathe out as we breathe in. But feel most of the motion down here. Breathe out. Now let's do some long breaths. Breathe in. Let it out on an extended S sound. Keep going. Relax your shoulders. Find that noble axial posture, that dynamic freedom. Continue all the way to the end of your breath. You will end up needing to engage ever so slightly, a little tuck here at the end to get the last 10 or 15% of your air. Go to the end. Release. When we get to the end of that breath, the next thing we do is we relax. It lets the diaphragm open, the belly pop out a bit, and then we actively breathe in a little bit more to re-begin. Breathe in. Take a hand with me. Continue. And trace the line of that S forward through the duration of your breath, all the way to that last little bit of breath. Go. Use that last 10, 15%, and then relax and let the air come back in. Actively breathe in. Same thing on an F this time. Forwards, through, all the way to the end of your breath, staying open here, using just this only in that last 10, 15%. And relax. The breath comes in. Breathe normally, relaxed and free. Now 16 pulses of air, active pulses of air, sending them forward and out into space on the letter F. Little inhalations each time, little inhalations that just renew the air. Here we go, 16. And now, breathe freely. 16 pulses on SH. Breathe freely. Good. Now, let's entirely relax what's going on in our voice. Breathe in and out through your mouth and nose at the same time, letting the nasal passage ever so slightly warm the air that comes across our vocal folds. See how silently you can breathe in and out. And now, some quicker inhalations and exhalations. Short, quick, still silent, relaxed voice. Now quick ones, still silent, like a silent dog panting. How quick can you go? Can you go out and 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 out? Good, and breathe normally. Now let's start to connect our breath to our voice. Here our goal is to have what we call a balanced onset. An onset that at the beginning isn't blocked by the vocal folds pressing together and doesn't start with the vocal folds too far away apart, but just in the right place where just the act of exhaling creates phonation, creates sound. Would you say once very breathy? Ah. Now the opposite, glottal, say ah. And now the balance, say ah. Again, ah. At the end of that phonation, let yourself relax so air can return into your lungs. Again, ah. Relax, feel that release. Feel that release at the end. Breathe in. Now a long ah. Ah. Relax. Breathe in. Now some short ones. Repeat after me. Ah, 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 ah. Do you see a little bounce that happens in here when I do that? Oh, 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 oh. Ah. Ha, 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 ha. He, he. And do you notice each time at the end of that, you'll see that little relaxation that just comes as I release my muscles. Good. Oh, 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 oh. Release. Ah, 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 ah. Release. Excellent. And so we've reminded ourselves of what it is to stand noble and axial. What it is to have dynamic freedom of the body. We are not locking ourselves into a rigid position. Our knees are free. Our thighs are free. Our hips are free. Our shoulders hang. Our neck is free. Our neck just balanced above the spinal cord. We have a slight proud lift of the rib cage, of the sternum forward. We've reminded ourselves of the inhalation that happens automatically when we release and relax, of the active part of breathing beyond that, where we really actively draw air in, of the relaxed phase of breathing where the air comes out, and that last bit of breathing where we have to engage a bit of tuck to get the 10-15% last bit of air out of our lungs, and then finally the relaxation at the end of all that just lets the air renew itself. Most breathing that we need for singing is just that relaxation. Unless we're going for a long phrase, just relaxing the breath, relaxing the voice, lets that air come in. Let that relaxation become part of your life even. When you finish speaking a sentence, relax into that noble axial, dynamic free posture so that the air is renewed, so your lungs are renewed, and so that your freedom emotionally and mentally is renewed as well. And now we're ready to start really freeing the voice itself, the larynx. And strangely enough, we're going to begin to do that with what we call some semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. In other words, to free the voice, we're first going to occlude it or block the vocal tract. When we speak of the vocal tract, that's the area of resonance of the voice. So there are many ways of doing this. We're going to start with a pretty dramatic one. Make a fist, and I'm going to turn so you can see. I'm making a fist like this with a little sort of straw-like shape in it that I can blow air through. And I'm going to put that right up to my mouth and blow air through it. Go ahead. Take a nice relaxed breath and find that noble axial posture, that dynamic free balance. Relax shoulders. Bring that straw up to your mouth. Breathe in first. And just exhale into it. Feeling a bit of back pressure as you do, and adjusting as needed to get that back pressure. And then again, that last 10-15% of the breath, using it all, and then relax. The air renews into the lungs and you're free again. Good, let's do that again. Breathe in and out. Whenever you reach the end of your breath, just relax and breathe freely. It'll be different for all of us, depending on how actively we were exhaling our air, depending on simply how much lung capacity we happen to have, depending on how deeply we breathed at the beginning of that. And wherever you run out of breath is just beautiful. Relax and let the air come back in. Now we're actually going to start phonating into our semi-occluded vocal tract. Bring that same straw back up. Breathe in, and this time on any comfortable note, sing an ah into your fist. It will sound ridiculous, but what we're doing is building a bit of relaxation into the voice by balancing the pressure below and above the vocal folds. So bring that fist up, breathe in, and on any comfortable note, try to pick a note other than the one I pick. Sing ah into it. Here we go. You might still be going, you might have sung a shorter note than I did. It's okay. And if I'm going much longer than you, feel free to just take another breath and sing again. That's totally great to do. Now this time as you do that, explore how open or closed your straw is to either have more backwards pressure or less, and see what it feels like. Pick a different note, maybe a slightly higher note or a slightly lower note. And let's sing this time an O into our semi-occluded vocal tract. Here we go, breathing in. Now you may have heard my voice break a little bit as it navigated the different kinds of pressure that were happening. And that's okay. Your voice is just figuring out, oh, what do I do with this kind of air pressure? What do I do with this kind of air pressure? And that's part of the joy of this exercise. Pick now a slightly higher note than either of the notes you've picked. And let's sing it this time on an E vowel into our semi-occluded vocal tract. Here we go. Breathing in, finding noble axial posture. And freedom. Freedom always at the end of that. Now let's start actually doing some vocalises with this at the piano. We're going to sing a descending 5-note scale on E, but into our vocal tract, the semi-occluded vocal tract. And then the same thing with our voice open. Now I want to warn you, I'm at a piano, and to get to the piano, I have to bend over ever so slightly. But please, even when I bend my knees to get to the piano, remember your axial, noble, dynamic, free posture. Feel free to bring that hand back to your sternum anytime to remind yourself of it. Great. Here we go. Breathing in on E. And freedom at the end. Good. Let's do it this time open. Breathing in. Going up a half step. Oh, this time. First into the semi-occluded vocal tract. Open. And we want to feel a little bit of the same activeness of exhalation that we felt in the semi-occluded vocal tract when we sing. Up a half step. Ooh. Great, now let's get our voice moving a little bit. We're going to use a lip trill. If you have trouble doing that, put your fingers here on the corners of your lips and try. Just push them ever so forward and be sure your cheeks are relaxed. Try that. If still that doesn't work, try a rolled R. And if even that doesn't work, try a buzzy V. Instead, any of those will work. And let's do... Ready, go. Good. Now remember that axial, noble posture that's dynamic and free. Here we go. Up a half step. And... How's your posture? Relax. How are the shoulders? One more. Excellent. Shake out your shoulders a bit. Good. Do a little up and down lip trill. And do a little sigh. Breathe in. Always before we sigh, we feel that inhalation that sets us up. And now, really, we are pretty warm. We've touched most of our range, but not all of it. We haven't sung all that much. And that's really important. A warm-up is not a vocal workout. A warm-up is getting us ready to sing real music, to be expressive, and to have the voice to be able to do it. We don't want to tire out our voice before we get to that. We just want it to be warm, and more importantly, we want our minds to be aware of the connection to the breath, to posture, and to the voice so that we can do that. And now let's start thinking about how we can shape what happens above the vocal folds themselves to create resonance. We're going to focus in on the classic Italianate vowels. Those are A, E, O, and U. To help us remember what they feel like, let's make some hand positions for them. So take your hands up like this so that your knuckles are next to your cheek, yeah? And give yourself a little jaw massage with your knuckles. And as you do this, relax your tongue. Good. And just say, please, oh. Again, oh. Yeah. An ah vowel is an open vowel where the tongue is pretty relaxed. It's a little bit forward for an Italianate ah. It's, would you say, ah, versus an American ah, an American ah, ah, an Italianate ah, ah. Slight difference, yeah? Don't get me either way, but it's generally quite relaxed. Find those knuckles again. Ah. Good, good, good. And now, you might think of it as EH. We draw it as the open E in IPA, the capital rounded E. Yeah? Good. Take your palms now on the side of your face. Give it a little massage. because the jaw space for is very similar to the jaw space for It's not exactly the same because the tongue is a little more forward and the jaw will come ever so slightly closer to being closed because of that. But it's very close. It is an open vowel all the same. So would you say, ah, ah, ah? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Good. Ah, ah. Now take one finger pointing up, and this is reminding us of just how high the arch of our tongue comes for an E vowel. Now, beware, as we do all of these vowels, the tip of our tongue, imagine this as our front teeth, our lower front teeth. The tip of our tongue is just relaxed right where our front teeth meet our gums. That is home base for the tongue. It's there for all of the vowels that we sing. Just let it live there. It will depart to do consonants of various sorts, but it will live there for all of our vowels. Yeah, so as we do an E vowel, that tongue, the arch of the tongue comes forward. The jaw will also have to close a little bit more, not much, a little bit more from to make that E vowel, yeah? So say, yee. Again, yee. Yes, absolutely. Good, and now draw a little circle in front of your mouth. This is just telling us that we're going to be doing a vowel where the lips are rounded. The corners of the lips come a little bit forward. Say, oh. You sure your tongue's still in home base? Oh. You sure you're still noble and axial, dynamic and free in your posture? Oh. Oh. Let's put all of these together. Knuckles to the cheeks. Oh. Palms. Ah. Pointer, yee! Loop, whoa! And finally a little gentle pinching motion forwards and out from your mouth. Ooh! Good, now let's put them on this pattern. Na, na, ni, no, no. Here we go. Na, na, ni, no, no. Now, as I'm touching the piano, my posture is terrible, right? It's just a factor of its height. So I'm going to come away from the piano so that I can remind myself to stay noble and axial, to stay dynamic and free in my posture. Here we go. Na, na, ni, no, no. One more. Na, na, ni, no, no. Now we're going to do a little exercise to just help us with our frontal pingy resonance. Would you say, as though like a witch cackling, would you say, yeah, ha, 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 ha. Good, again. Yeah, ha, 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 ha. One more time. Yeah, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, good. Now we're going to say, yeah, 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 yeah. Nye, 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 nye. Yo, 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 yo. Yo, 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 yo. So going from nasal to just a beautiful vowel that remains its frontalness, yeah? And we do that as nya, 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 nya. Nya, 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 nya. Nye, 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 nye. Nyo, 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 nyo. Nyo, 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 nyo. Here we go. Nya, 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 nya. Nya, 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 nya. Nye, 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 nye. Nyo, 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 nyo. Nyo, 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 nyo. Try and let the first of each really be nice and nasal. Here we go, and nya, 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 nya. Nya, 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 nya. Nye, 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 nye. Nyo, 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 nyo. Nyo, 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 nyo. One more, why not? Here we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna do that again because I didn't start it as nasal as I could have. Here we go. Yeah, 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 yeah. 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 And now think about the end of each of those 5 and how front that was. Maybe you felt it a little tickly in here as you did that. If you did, that's lovely. That's lovely. We sometimes call that a feeling of resonating in the singer's mask, as though we had a little mask over our eyes here and we felt it tickling up there. It's just sympathetic vibration. The sound is actually not resonating up here. The sound is all resonating in the mouth and the throat. When we're first doing true nasal vowels, it resonates a bit in the nasal, the nasal passage as well. But by the time we're not nasal, it's really just the mouth and the throat, yeah? But sympathetically, you sometimes may feel a little bit of resonance up here in your face. If you do, that's great. So think about, we had the nasal, nya, 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 nya. But then we got to that nya that hopefully had that same forwardness to it. Let's have just the end of those 5 each time. So where it was still forward on ha, e, o, oo. Still nice and frontally resonant, yeah? And we sing a 5-note scale that way. Here we go. Actually, let's come down here. I'm starting with a because that's a nasal consonant to help me feel that forwardness. Try that if you would. Here we go. Freedom. One more. And those are all the elements of a good extended warm-up. We first found our posture, noble and axial, dynamic and free. We did it by rolling up, by balancing front and back, left and right, by checking in with the balance of the head, releasing the shoulders, checking in with the neck roll, rolling the chin down and up, till we found that noble freedom, placing a hand on the sternum, feeling the slight lift of the sternum, and being sure that doesn't tighten up our hips, it doesn't tighten up our thighs, but keeps us free. We worked on our breathing, first slow, free breathing in and out, feeling the relaxation as we exhale, feeling the engagement in the last 15% of the breath from our muscles of our abdominal area, and feeling the relaxed inhalation that comes at the end of all that draws air back in. We started connecting it to our voice with little onset exercises, being sure they were neither glottal nor breathy, but right in the middle, beautifully balanced. And then we started actually engaging our larynx, actually singing, with various semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, singing little 5-note scales into our palm and then taking it away. And then doing little onset exercises, ha, 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 singing on them and singing down little scales on them. And then we worked towards balanced resonance. We reminded ourselves what a good mouth shape for each of the 5 basic Italian vowel shapes are. Really, there are 6 Italian vowels. The other one is E, but for now we just do 5. And then we took those same vowels, we started the nasal and moved them to non-nasal to help us find a nice forward placement of the sound. You know, that sense of the sound going up and out, of finding resonance within the singer's mask. And in all that, we gave ourselves lots of space to find relaxation, to breathe and feel the freedom of breath. And hopefully in doing so, also released emotional tension that translates into physical tension of the body. This is my extended warm-up when I have time to do it. And I love the freedom it gives me in the end. If I only have a few minutes to do it, here's what I do. I start with the rolling up. Do it with me, feel it. Yeah, roll up. Then I let my neck continue into a circle. Meanwhile, shifting forwards and backwards in my body to find axial balance. Then bringing my sternum into nobleness. Looking around, going through any places that are tight. I place a hand on my belly, a hand on my sternum, I breathe in. And I hiss it out. Relax. So the air comes in, I do the same thing in F. SH. Pulsed F. Balanced onset sigh. Oh. Balanced onset sigh on E. Balanced onset sigh on O. Oh. And balanced onset sigh on U. Ooh. Oh, yeah, yee, oh, ooh. Na 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 na, na 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 na, ni 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 ni, no 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 no, no 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 no. And then I take that up through my range a bit, and then I'm warm. It takes under 5 minutes, and it just puts me in a great position to sing. There are many different approaches to warming up. You can take the one that works best for you. But I think almost everyone would agree that a good warm-up will always have something that connects us to our posture, to our breathing, that frees the voice, that helps us find resonance, and that prepares us mentally and emotionally to start the wonderful athletic activity that is singing. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you'll just find some time through the week to try a vocal warm-up, whether a quick, compressed, short 5-minute one or a more extended one for yourself. I can't wait to see you all again for our next topics class next week. Remember that it's Labor Day this coming Monday, so we won't have a rehearsal then, but we will have another topics class on Thursday. Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.